All the beeps.
It's February 27th and I'm running the Cummins Falls Marathon today. One of my goals this year was to get back to running like I used to, so I signed up to run the local marathon. I'm a bit undertrained and maybe a lot undertrained, but putting on a race bib and hitting the pavement sure does feel good. I thought I'd take you all along the race with me today.
First downhill of the day. About a mile and a half in, I arrived late with maybe 10 minutes before the start to pick up the packet. And by the time I did that, I found Megan and Garvey, had a few visits. It was time to start, so I didn't get much video on the beginning of this. But I'm kind of in a groove now. The big question is I parked my truck in a big mud hole, so we'll see if I can get home after I get done with the run today. But worst comes to worst, someone will give me a ride home and I'll come back and get it later maybe, but that'll be my after marathon trick. Right now, I'm just gonna keep running and enjoy this downhill. Mile and a half in, feeling great.
The Cummins Falls race includes 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon distances. The proceeds benefit continued improvements for the park. Cummins Falls is a small 282-acre park with some short hiking trails, good views, and most prominently a 75-foot gorgeous waterfall. In the last few years, it's become Instagram famous as a must-visit swimming hole right here in Middle Tennessee. It's also a bit infamous as tragedy has struck multiple times as the gorge is prone to flash flooding, which has caused several deaths. It was a soggy race day and had rained the night before. The creeks and rivers of the Blackburn Fork watershed were flowing freely, making for a good visual. The shorter distance runners split off fairly quickly from the marathon distance. Soon after mile 4, it became a more solitary run with the sounds of water cascading down many waterfalls into the valley, joining the gurgling creek.
My truck may be stuck. We'll see if I can get out of here. Feeling good. 5.5 miles.
Great job. It's soggy, but you're doing great. Great job, you guys. Yeah.
So the first 2 miles of the race is pretty flat, and then you go on a very long half mile or a little bit longer downhill. And then you follow the Blackburn Fork watershed down in this valley up for the next 7 miles to about mile 9.5. And it's beautiful, beautiful and scenic and wonderful. And then we've just turned a left down on this 2-lane country road. And I think there's water gonna be up here on my right. I believe it's Roaring River. Here we are, mile 10. Still feeling fine. Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, geez. Thank you guys for being here. 13.1 mile check-in, halfway done. That feels really good. It's super picturesque back here. It's been flat still, so haven't done any real elevation gain. The ruralness of the race through back roads and mostly one-laners along creeks and in valleys and kind of near the Cummins Falls Park itself lends itself to a ultra marathon feel as far as comparing it with other marathons. There's not a lot of spectators, but actually that's okay. It's particularly good for me since this is my first time back. It's really been introspective just to run and enjoy the beautiful scenery. It's 60 degrees-ish, and while we've had some rain at times, it's not a cold rain. This is a pleasant marathon. Just after mile 16, and saw Sid, my wife, and Sam, my son, out on the course and kind of boosted the spirits. Ready to go. I'm actually approaching mile 17, and that's a very special time for marathoners because the miles to go drop to the single digits. 9 miles, 8 miles. That's pretty important. Yeah, it's been a good run. I'm starting to feel like I've been running. I expected that. I've been warned. It's gonna get hilly.
And at mile 16.5, there was the wall. It got steep, very steep. The kind where you adopt the walk up the very steep hill strategy and go with it. I wasn't the only one using the strategy.
Hey, is this Thank you all. I'll see you soon. All right, mile 24 check-in. It's been hillier this second part, so after I'm still doing the walk up the hills and run down them and run the flats strategy, at least walk the steep hills, and at 24 miles, I think I'm on my last steep hill. The problem is I've been running the downhill so steep, my thighs now feel like hamburger meat going downhill. Not winded, I'm still pretty comfortable, and on the flat I can still keep a pace, so I'm gonna call that a win at 24 miles or so. Less than a 5K to go. So far so good, and I'm glad it's kind of winding down. I'll check in near the finish line. Hey, mile 25 and a half, I'm right there. It is the final bit of the full marathon. Cool marathon, very peaceful, very laid back, lots of refreshment stops, and yeah, well put on race. I'll probably sign off now from Cummins Mill State Park Marathon. Closing in on mile 26 and just the final 0.2 to go.
Hey folks, as a quick wrap up, I did finish the marathon in 4 hours and 28 minutes, which is my second slowest marathon, but considering the amount of time I've been training to re-enter marathons and the amount of hills in that particular marathon, I did a great job. I'm really happy. I got a finisher's medal, so it was my 23rd marathon overall and the first one in over 2 years. I'm gonna call that a success. I did get my truck out with the help of a ranger and a winch. Thank you, Ranger. I also want to thank the ambulance crews, the state troopers, the sheriff's department that were all there on hand. They did a really great job. I want to also give a shout out to all the volunteers. The food stations were magnificent. If you ever want to eat your way through a marathon, that's the marathon to do it. Seriously, about every 3 to 4 miles, there was a smorgasbord of drinks, crackers, bananas, and strawberries, not just at one table, but at all the tables. So that was great. And real special thanks to my family for both showing up to cheer me on as I took off that day. Sid and Sam, who it was his first time really cheering me on at a marathon. I appreciate all that. Thanks so much. Sam, what did you think of the marathon?
It's good. It's so good.